Yo, what's good with you? It's Nia Queen, and we are back for another episode of What's Good With You. Today, I have a very special friend of mine that's been whooping my behind for the past 3 years, who is a certified personal trainer, a Nike athlete, a mother, and an entrepreneur, Juanita Caldwell.
Hey.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I am so happy to finally have you on my platform because the number one question I get on my Instagram is, who's your trainer? Who's your trainer? Oh, I see you, Nia. Who's your trainer? Your trainer's a woman? Yes, she is. And she be whooping my behind.
Sure do.
But before we get started, I just want to say that you are a very special person to me. And I know, like, oh, it's your trainer, like, you pay her. But she goes above and beyond. And I feel like some of my lowest moments you have gotten me through. And I really mean that, because sometimes I'll come to training and I'm like, oh, my gosh, like, not even sad about, like, working out, but just, like, the world around me and everything that has been going on. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, like, I don't think I could get through this. And then I get through your workout, and I'm like, is that me feeling better?
Come on now.
I think I'm feeling a little bit better.
Come on,
you
somebody.
know? So I just want to say thank you for that. And, thank you for coming. How are you?
It's my pleasure. I am amazing. I'm happy to be here and just excited to dive into all the things.
Yes, we're going to dive into a lot. But before we get started in what I really want to talk about, which is motherhood, because I feel like watching you go through your journey has opened my eyes to a lot. But before we get into the motherhood, I want you to tell a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the fitness world.
Yeah, so I was an athlete my entire life, so I come from an athletic background. And for me, it just kind of got to a point to where when I stopped doing sports, my body reacted very differently. And I was, for the first time in my life, I wasn't training multiple times a day, every day. And I started to see the weight packing on and adding on, and started to see how my genetics was out to get me. Mm-hmm. And I started just doing a couple of things on my own, just realizing that one-off workouts weren't really working like they used to when I was younger, and my metabolism was faster and all the things. And so I kind of started to dive into like what my body needed just personally. And I went back into just really studying and understanding the body and like what really makes what makes all this stuff work. Mm-hmm. And I got really kind of like geeked out and nerded over like understanding how the body works and how each body is different and what your body needs to get you to wherever you want to be. And honestly, it just went from like that and just from me learning more about the body from my personal self into like me helping out friends and coworkers, and I'm in the gym on my lunch break and people are like, well, what are you doing? I want to do it too. Mm-hmm. It kind of just like sparked this kind of, for lack of a better word, to spark that like interest of the passion that I now have in it. And the passion kind of left from like catering into myself and making it for me and dove into like helping others. And I loved people coming down on lunch break and knowing, okay, Nita's in the gym, it's 12 o'clock. I want to go in there and like catch one of her workouts. And that became so much fun for me. And I realized that portion of my day, that hour of my day, of my full workload, became my favorite hour of the day. And I kind of just took that and ran with it. I got to a point in my job where I was getting kind of complacent and I was good at what I did, but I didn't see a longevity in it. And I wanted to realize or figure out what was next. And I started to dive into what made me happy. I was like, can I make money doing things that make me happy? And so at the time, I was still living on the East Coast, and I decided to do an entire coast change, career change, all in one. It's like, if I'm going to change it, let's just do it all together. And so I moved from New Jersey to California and decided to leave my career. And I worked in professional sports. I was in the front office of professional sports. I decided to leave from my career in sports and come and work more on the hands-on side of sports and developing the person. So not just the athlete, the everyday person. And so in a day, I would go from seeing, my little kiddies that are, training for their first soccer game till their grandparents that, just trying to get up and down the stairs without a pain in their back. And I loved just the idea of how everybody needs something different. Everybody's body is different.
Right.
And so whether you're 3 years old or you're 63 years old, just learning the differences between the bodies and also the similarities, because sometimes it circles back around and you're talking to the 3-year-olds and the 60-year-olds the same. So it became a passion, and it became something that I just got joy of doing, and I really just dove into it, honestly.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Neat Fit and how that became your business and how you created really a whole new community with your business. Because I've been a long time trainee of you, so I just want you to highlight that as well, because that's a big part of who you are today.
Yeah, so Neat Fit, honestly, it came from just like me wanting to create something that I needed for me. And like I said, since I'm not from here, being a transplant in a new city anywhere can be scary, can be overwhelming, can be all the things. And so for me, I was searching for community, honestly. I had a few friends sprinkled out that were here, but I wanted like that bigger feeling of like, feeling like I was a part of something bigger than just like myself. Mm-hmm. And so I joined a run club. Shout out to Keep It 100. At the time it was Front Runners. Mm-hmm. And I joined a run club and met some amazing people there. And it just kind of like sparked the idea of like, what I'm doing just like on a larger scale. And so at the time I was doing workouts at Runyon and just offering free community workouts just as a way to get my name out there, for people to meet me and see me. And as a way just to like bring the community together to do all the outdoorsy things, all the workout things. Yeah. And it went from that. I went from that workout a week, that 1 day a week at Runyon, and it went from, it would be 2 people consistently every week to 4 people every week. So then we got up before COVID, it was at like 45 to 50 people a week. Mm-hmm. And just seeing that grow just kind of showed me that like, okay, this is what your purpose is. You're supposed to be out here for this. Mm-hmm. This is the greater good, the bigger picture. And from those community workouts, I dove into doing like, more personal training and then more small group training, and then just opening it up to see like, how much more can I offer? If I'm offering group training on these days, I can do a big group on these days, I can do personal on these days. Right. And it got to a point of where I wanted to reach as many people as I could. Mm-hmm. And I always say my training method, I'm not the best businesswoman, but I think I'm a great person. And I always look at it as, I don't want to take anyone's money and steal from you and have you like be a client for 30 plus years. My goal is to teach. I'm a teacher at heart. Mm-hmm. And so my goal is like, how can I teach my community, people that look like me, come from where I come from, how to take better care of our bodies, so that way they don't need me. Once again, not the best like business way, I know that.
No,
but
I mean that's kind of like the same thing like therapy. Like I don't want my clients to be my clients for forever. It's mm-hmm. like I eventually want them to be able to maintain on their own. So yes. I understand that sentiment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think a bigger part too, in my midst of like transitioning out here and going from career to career to get to doing this fully for myself, I worked in a lot of these bigger corporate gyms, and I run a lot of people that weren't like me, mm-hmm. but yeah. Seeing how much money people pay for training, I think that was discouraging at first, because at first I couldn't believe that people were paying that kind of money for something that was like a leisure thing. Right. And then when I looked at it in our community, I'm like, a lot of people don't have personal trainers because of the first thought, is too expensive, I can't afford it. Right. Yeah. And so my main goal, community was first with Neat Fit, but then after that was accessibility. Like, I want to be accessible to my people. And I also, just not just money-wise, but location-wise, And so in the process of, where I'm hosting my classes, where my gym is located, I want to be in my community for my community. Mm-hmm. If you can't reach me, if I am, if you can afford the larger scale gyms, you're not for me and I'm not for you. Right. Because I want people that, can get a break every once in a while and not look at fitness as a bill, mm-hmm. right? Yeah. Fitness shouldn't be something that you have to debate over. Am I going to pay my trainer, or am I going to pay my light bill? It shouldn't be and so my goal is to make it to where, how can I be accessible price point for, for my people, but also too, how can it still be that exclusiveness where you have that community, that family built into it all in one. Right.
And I actually went to one of your Runyon Canyon workouts.
Back in the day.
And that's when I wasn't really working out. And I remember we did something, I don't know if it was high knees. You had a high knees competition or something. And my legs was locking up. Oh, Lord, yeah.
I love it.
It was a good workout. And that's actually the first time I met you. And also Chef Beans. Okay. I met Chef Beans there. And if I could find that picture, I'm going to put it in this episode.
Come on,
I have a group picture of all of us
yes.
from 2019, before the pandemic.
Wow.
And it's just crazy. I'm like, oh, I met you before. And
that's so crazy.
One of my friends told me about you later on. But I'm like, oh, yeah, I actually worked out with her before. So I know what it is. But I remember thinking oh, wow, look at all these young black people working out. Because I was new to moving to Inglewood, so I wasn't really familiar with LA and all the different people in LA, but I really met a lot of, people on my podcast and friends through you and the Run Club.
Wow.
So that's amazing. And I do remember it was hot too.
It did get hot.
And it
did get hot up there.
We running around. I'm like, all right, this is a lot. But she knows what she's doing. I will say that. And just moving to Inglewood and having you as a trainer, I remember the first session we had, and you were like, oh, we're doing a fitness test. I'm like, what? A fitness test?
I love a fitness test.
And I remember after being like, ooh, I don't know about this, but I think one of the things that attracted me to you as far as like personal training is that it was affordable, and then it also your personality, you're welcoming, right? You're like, oh yeah, come on, like, oh yeah, come on. And a lot of times I see similarities in how you respond to your clients and like how I respond to my clients in therapy. It's like they're telling you about because I know I'll be telling you about everything, and you're just like, yeah, girl, and you're encouraging and everything. And I wanted to ask you, how does that feel like to help others, and also what do you do to maintain your own sense of like mental well-being with hearing all these different stories, because you have so many different clients, different age groups, and they're, venting to you, telling you stories. Yeah. What do you do to kind of compartmentalize?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, training is a form of therapy, and a lot of people, back to the accessibility thing, a lot of people that can't afford both, I get a lot of people that don't have therapists that will come to me and like event, and by no means am I a therapist at all, but I like to provide a safe space. I think if anything, if I can be a listening ear, because sometimes just getting it off your chest is sometimes all you need to do. And so for me, my point, even with like how I structure my gym, I've never been one to do the big gyms, and I'm never going to have you come to the big commercialized gyms, and we're in there with 1,000 other people. I always want it to be intimate and special, because when it's that time, that personal training, that one-on-one training, it should be just that one-on-one.
Right.
There shouldn't be outside distractions and other people around you, so that way you can use it for whatever you need it for. And I have clients that sometimes will come and we'll just sit and talk sometimes all the time and just do very like minimal movement, depending on what your body needs that day.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just more so just providing that safe space, right? Because if you provide the safe space, I think it opens the door for just anything to happen. And one thing with my clients, I am very picky with who I take on. I don't take on everybody, because it's a shared energy in every way possible of the word, right?
Yeah.
For one, it's intimate. It's in my private and my personal space where my family is. But then two, I think it goes both ways, because it does get very intimate. It does get very we're very connected in a way. I want us to both feel safe, right? And so before I even take you on as a client, I usually just strictly go by referrals, because the people that I work with, my community, I know they are amazing people. And so if you refer someone to me, they have to be an extension of you. And I know that people will only refer people that they trust, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so that's the first, right? So when people
Yeah.
come to me, my first question is, who referred you?
Right.
And I'm going to check you out first and say, okay, who is this energy coming into my space?
Right, yeah.
But because of that, we're already coming on a level of a level of trust and a level of understanding, because we have that mutual connection. And so I think that's the first part, just opening up that safe space. The second part for me, honestly, it does get sometimes, and being very honest, pouring out all day can be exhausting, because, I'm pouring out as a trainer, I'm pouring out as a mom, I'm pouring out as a partner, I'm pouring out everything. And then by the end of the day, sometimes it's like I have nothing left for myself. So I'm actually currently in the process of working on what that balance looks like for me. And I am in the process of, I've been talking about needing therapy for a long time, and I'm ready, girl, I'm ready, I've been ready, I'm so ready.
I finally convinced you.
You convinced me. You didn't convince me, girl, I'm ready. But I definitely feel like, just as therapists need therapists, trainers need trainers, all the things.
Right.
Because it does get to a point, even with my own fitness, I'm training all day, coaching all day, writing plans all day. When it's time for me to work out, I don't want to do it half the time anymore. And being honest, you do something all day for other people. When it comes to yourself, you're drained most of the time.
Right.
And I do have a bad habit, and I think I look at it now as a bad habit, but growing up, it was always like, I thought that's what made me me. I put everyone before myself, and that's just how I've always been. And bad habit, not in the sense of like you shouldn't do that, but I think I need to work on finding that balance, right? Because I love being able to do that. That's the me and me. I'm going to always put my people first, but I got to figure out how I can, find that time for Nita as well too. But I love doing it, and I think that's where, it's not a problem for me, because it's not an overexertion, because I love doing it and I naturally do it. I just have to find a better balance of how I refill my cup afterwards.
Yeah.
But one thing that does refill my cup, and it's one of the things also drains my cup, of course, being a mom, is the best, most hardest job in the world, but just getting a chance to spend time with my son while doing my passion and the thing that I love doing. At the same time as it's draining, it also is filling. So it almost is like teetering back and forth.
Right, right. And before we get into the mom part, something that you said, like you always put others before you. And I had a therapy session this week, and my therapist was like, how often do you choose yourself? And I was like, ooh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
And then she was like, you need to start choosing yourself, because if you don't choose yourself, why would other people consider your feelings? Yeah. Why would other people choose you? Because they see how you move and how you act and how you're always putting them first. So why would they put your feelings first?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
Why did you have to come for me?
Girl, came for you.
But it really had me thinking, like, how often do my decisions consider me first? Or are they considering the person I'm dating first, or my friends first, or my family first?
Yes.
And I feel like, I don't know if it's being the oldest daughter. I don't know where it comes from exactly. But it's like when you grow up, everybody's like, oh, you know, pay attention to your brother's feelings, pay attention to your mom's feelings, or your mom doesn't like this, so you shouldn't do it. Your dad doesn't like this, so you shouldn't do it. So you just learn to put your feelings on the back burner, or your desires on the back burner, or I could get to it later. I could do it later. And her saying that in our therapy session really opened my eyes, and I'm like, you know, walking into 30, that's going to be a priority for me.
Yes,
Choose me first.
Please
do. The rest will come, and I just have to learn how to be okay with that.
Yes.
And that's, you know, obviously it's a hard process.
I think also, too, learning to be okay with, like, the losses that come from it, because sometimes you will lose people, things, and what so be it, but being okay with that. And I think that's something that I love you doing that for 30. I wish I would have did that for 30. For me, I think that came with motherhood of, like, I can't go into the season of, like, learning to teach him and preach to him how to do the right things, and I'm not doing it myself.
Right.
And so I had to, like, you know, I've lost relationships in a couple of different areas of my life where I've had to start putting me first. And the crazy thing is, it shouldn't be that you have to lose things to put yourself first. But then sometimes so be it, right? You know, if you put yourself first and things don't pan out, that is okay. Because at the end of the day, when no one else is there, you're still there.
Exactly.
And so I think take all the things, put yourself first. And I'm still learning it. It's still very new, but becoming okay with, like, what comes with that. Right.
And it also shows you, like, the right people will stick around.
Oh, absolutely.
The right people will
absolutely
stick around. Everybody's not going to stay around, but the right people will stick around, even when you do start to grow and start to change and start to choose yourself. So just pay attention to that and really cherish the friends and the family that do stick around and do respect the new boundary that you have.
Yes.
Because, I mean, not just in motherhood, but in general, when we're growing and we're becoming better people, people be falling off. But that's okay, because the real ones stick around.
That part. The real ones that they stick around and they show up in amazing ways. And I think that's, like, something that I've really grown to appreciate. You know, of course, like, mourning relationships is always a thing as well, too.
Yeah,
but then also seeing how your other friends show up for you in those times and how they, like, you know, because in life you're constantly growing, you're evolving, you're shifting. I'm never going to be the same person I was, you know. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I'm always growing and evolving. That's the goal, right? And so I think watching your friends grow and evolve around you in their own ways, in their own lanes, is beautiful, because life is not stagnant. We're not never going to stay the same.
Right.
But it's great to be able to, like, you know, just watch life just keep going. Because one thing it's going to do is going to keep going.
Yeah.
It's going to keep going regardless.
Depressed or not. It's
going to keep going.
You still got to get up and go to work.
Listen, that part. It's not waiting for nobody.
Right. So one of my core memories about you is when I came to training one day and, like, you did not look well. I was like, what's wrong with her? Like, she's usually, like, chipper, and she, like, sitting there, like, stomach hurt, and she's like, I think something's wrong with my stomach. And I'm like,
You and everybody else.
And then one
y'all
day,
all knew it before me.
She's like, I have something to tell you guys. You're like, I'm pregnant. I said,
Girl.
Oh my gosh. Everybody was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I was happy.
I knew it.
I was happy. I was like, I love babies. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm happy. I'm happy. And then I remember another day where you have like a kettlebell that's pink and that's blue. And I'm the only one that chose blue. I'm just saying. Everybody else chose pink. I chose blue.
Sure
I knew. I said, it's a boy. She's a sporty chick. She's getting a little sporty boy.
Boy mom written all over me.
Right. And I'll let you speak on how you found out in those first months. But I remember seeing you go through that and being like, whoa, like,
girl,
this ain't no joke.
Humbled me.
A lot of times we romanticize, you know, being pregnant, and that's something that I've done. I'll just speak for myself. That's something that I've done because I've always wanted to have kids, and I see other people having kids. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to be pregnant. I can't wait. Like, oh my gosh, can't wait to have the little mini me. But when I saw what you went through, I said, oh, yeah, you might need to think this through a little bit more now, Nia, because this is no joke. But I want you to talk about, you know, how you found out you were pregnant, and mentally, how did you even prepare for this, if you can prepare for this? But I just want you to talk a little bit about that. Yeah,
absolutely. So for one, we're not trying. We're going to preface that first. And so it was completely, for sure, surprise. But the best surprise ever, I will say, and I am very blessed in every sense of the word, but I did have it rough in the beginning. So I found out, actually, me and two of my best friends, we were going to the movies, went to go see the Barbie movie, and so we had, like, dressed up and had, like, blonde wigs on and all this stuff. I remember that, yeah. It was a whole thing. And I'm a huge movie fan and, like, all the things, and we get out, and I'm like, I'm also a huge foodie. I love to eat. And we get to the theater, I'm like, I didn't want anything to eat. Like, I just was still, like, stomach upset. I was, like, nauseous and all the things. And so in my head, I think I knew already. I definitely knew already. So in 2020, I actually had a miscarriage. And when you're pregnant again, it's like the same thing, symptoms, same everything happens. And so a couple days before I took the test, in my head, I was like, I think I'm pregnant. It just reminded me of the same things, like sensitive to all the smells, like boob sensitive to the touch, all the things, like stomach upset, all the stuff. And I was just like, this feels familiar again. And when I took the test, it was already like I knew what it was going to say. And it came up and said I was pregnant. And I was like, okay. Yeah. All right, we're here. Like thinking it and then knowing it, two different things. Yeah. But it was just, at that point, it was met with so much just love from every angle, from friends, from family, from all this stuff. Mind you, I am in my grown age, okay? I was 32 when I got pregnant, 31, something like that. I was in my grown age, and I was scared to tell my mom, like, Mom, I'm pregnant. Right. She was like, about time, girl. I've been waiting on a grandbaby.
Not about time.
No, for her. She's been clocking my uterus for who knows how long. But in that moment, I felt almost like I was in like a teen pregnancy. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm a baby having a baby. I'm a whole grown ass woman. But in those moments, you do feel that feeling of like, oh shoot, now what, right? Right. When I had my miscarriage, it was ripped away from me before I could get attached too much. And I think I always like more in that feeling of like, well, it's my time to be a mom, and that got taken from me. So then I kind of like went for a phase of like, okay, I'm okay without kids. It's okay. It's not for me. After my miscarriage, I went down a really, really deep and dark spiral for a long time. That's kind of what sparked my interest of like knowing I needed therapy. And so then when I got pregnant, of course, reading up and hearing on all like the prepartum and postpartum depression, and I was worried like, you know, that would have like its moments, and it did, and it definitely like those play a huge part into the role of pregnancy. Your hormones are all over the place for 10 months straight. And so, you know, it's not 9. I don't know who said it was 9 months. It's pregnant for 10 months. And I went a couple days past 10 months. But for me, pregnancy was hard. My body was, in a sense, almost rejecting it. I had what was called hyperemesis. And so hyperemesis is not very common. A couple hundred moms do get it every, you know, so often. But it basically is like when your body's rejecting a pregnancy and, like, you can't keep anything down. So, of course, as you're pregnant, your cravings, they grow. You're eating more, you're drinking more because you're feeding for 2 now. Right. That's always usually a running joke. But in my case, I couldn't keep anything down. And so I actually lost weight in my first, like, 4 months of pregnancy. I was for lack of better words, I was crackhead skinny, okay? I looked like the little alien from Men in Black.
Crackhead.
I looked like the little alien from Men in Black in my little belly and my big head. It was bad. But I couldn't keep anything down, so I was just really weak. I couldn't, like, you know, it was some points I got bad. I could barely, like, stand, and I had to go to the hospital to get, like, fluids and stuff.
Right.
That's how I was getting my fuel. And so for me in the beginning, it was hard to attach to my son because I kept thinking, what if it happens again? Like, I'm not eating, I'm not drinking. I'm like, I don't want to attach to it. I kept calling it in my head. And I wouldn't announce that to anybody else because everyone's so happy for you. Like, this is this great thing. But for me, I'm like, I already suffered a loss. I don't want to get attached to the idea of this is my time and then it gets ripped from me again. Yeah. And so I don't think I started calling it like him or like my baby until I was like maybe 6-7 months in. Then I'm like, okay.
I think that was your way of protecting yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Absolutely. But for me, the whole like romanticizing pregnancy, that is a whole thing. The whole fairy tale of being pregnant, all the stuff. And I remember I asked my mom, I said, Mom, I called her one day crying. I was like, why didn't you tell me it gets this bad? And she told me, she was like, if I would have told you how bad it gets, you would have never wanted to have kids on your own.
Well,
in which
she
like
wasn't lying.
She wasn't lying.
Yeah.
And she wasn't lying. And I like, it's a two-part feeling on that. Part of it I respect, like being in my position now and having my amazing son, I respect her not telling me because knowing me, I would have been like, oh, I don't want to go through that. But at the same time, I wish that it was more talked about because give people the chance to understand that it's not always butterflies and rainbows.
Right, exactly.
We see all the time, especially on the day and age of social media where people, you know, they post and broadcast everything. But I think people are posting just so much more of the positives of it, and it is a lot of positives. I think for me, the bigger my belly got, the bigger I got, the further along I was, the better I felt personally. So those last 3 months for me, last 3-4 months of the 10 were really special, and I really did have that connection and that bond, and I felt all those amazing things. But those first 6 months were hell. And I think it's not talked enough about, like, you know, how everyone's journey is different.
Right. Yeah.
I have friends who have been pregnant, you know, going on 3, 4, 5 kids, and every pregnancy was a breeze. Every childbirth was a breeze. Everything was just like, you know, textbook perfect.
Right.
But then there's really no telling, you know, there is no right or wrong. There is no you can do this, you can do that, that's going to help, that's going to hurt.
Right.
Your bodies just react to it differently. And so for me, it was just seeing how my body reacted. I think I was disappointed at first, to be real, that, like, you know, I take such great care of my body. Why isn't it treating me back and taking good care of me in this moment?
Yeah.
And so I was disappointed at first, like, you know, damn, what did I do to deserve, you know, the hard pregnancy? But then I had to, like, realize the fact, like, I think because I take good care of my body, because I'm, like, in the gym, because I'm, like, constantly working out, I was able to, like, hold on to the pregnancy. I was able to, like, you know, get as far as I did. And, like, yes, it sucked. And, yes, it, like, had really, really tough moments. But I think because of the care I took of my body, I was able to push on and push through. And so just flipping your thinking of, like, you know, glass half empty to glass half full. Right?
Yeah.
But pregnancy is all the things, all the everything, emotions, everything all wrapped into one. But I do wish that it was talked about a lot more of, you know, the highs and the lows, because there are a lot of lows. I think a big low for me is no matter who you have around, whether they're, like, physically there, checking in on you or whatever, pregnancy is lonely as hell. It is the most lonely time of your life. Right. And I have an amazing partner. Like, God bless him. He is truly, like, outstanding. And I still felt so alone, right? And I think it's hard because it's only people that have gone through what you're going through understand. Right. And I've reached out to all my friends that are moms and, like, messaged them, like, I'm so sorry that I was not there more or around more, all the things, like, I didn't know, but also, so nobody's fault you don't know.
Right, exactly. You're the only one that's going through that experience.
Yeah.
And who knows what it's doing to your brain.
Girl.
Let alone your body. So I understand the loneliness part because it's like your partner is not carrying the kid with you.
Girl.
It's in your body. It's sucking all of your energy and your nutrients, making your hormones go crazy. And I just want to say thank you for being transparent even with your clients about, you know, what was going on, because I was like, where's Juanita at? Like, I'm not feeling good today. I'm not going to make it. And I'm like, wow, like, this is really life-changing. And obviously, we know it's life-changing, but then, like, when I really saw it up that close, I was like, oh, this is different. This is different. And just going into... You made it through your pregnancy, right? And you're going into childbirth. And there's a lot of statistics on like Black mothers having a higher rate of mortality during childbirth.
Yeah.
And that always has been something that has scared me, because I'm like, well, what is it? Because even like doing my research before this episode, like socioeconomic status doesn't even matter. You could be rich, you could be highly educated, and you still have a higher chance of dying than a low-income white person.
Yep.
And I was like, what?
Yes.
And I'm trying to figure out, well, what is that? Why is that? And I just wanted to know, like, is that something that you thought about going into childbirth and your experience just with the medical system?
Absolutely.
How do you feel like, or what advice could you give to like mothers going through that portion of pregnancy?
I think my biggest advice is to like really do your research and search for your birthing team, because we'll get to that point as well too, but they literally saved my life. I was very adamant when I wanted a Black woman, and I didn't care how much, we were going to figure out a way. I wanted a Black woman in the room. If I couldn't get a Black woman, I wanted a woman of color. Nothing against the male doctors, but you've never been in my shoes. You never will be in my shoes.
Right.
I didn't want somebody telling me that didn't know what I was going through, what I should be feeling, how I could be feeling. I never really understood that.
Right.
You don't know what I'm going through. But I was really, really adamant on a Black woman doctor, and I found one. And the crazy thing is, when I found her, she had been in practice for like 30-something years, and I went to her Yelp page, and there were a lot of great reviews, but then there were also a lot of bad reviews. And in that moment, I'm a huge review girly. Like, I want to look at the reviews on everything and, like, what worked, what didn't work, all this stuff. And I feel like I typically would have saw the bad reviews and ran and been like, I'm not doing this. But it was like, I swear God spoke to me, and he was like, this is your doctor. And I overlooked all those bad reviews, and she was amazing throughout my entire journey. Something that we dealt with, and I thank my mom for my skin and my stuff, but I look really young for my age. And so a lot of places I was going, I was getting treated like I was a teen mom. And I'm very big on treat me with respect, and I'm going to respect you, respect me, all the things. And just the way that I was getting handled, it wasn't, up to my liking. And then also too, we're going in there and we're not married, so me and my partner. And so a lot of times the first thing they look down is to look to see if you have a ring on, which is, it's so disheartening, because it's really, come on now. And so we just weren't getting treated with the respect that I would have felt comfortable literally giving my life, my child's life to you.
Right, yeah.
And so when I did find this doctor, and I overlooked the reviews that I did see, she, thank God, ended up being phenomenal. And then on top of her, I was able to get a doula who also was amazing. I got the doula pretty late in my journey. When we looked in the beginning when I got pregnant, I knew I wanted a doula and a birthing team and the whole nine. But it was very expensive. Very, very, very expensive. And I got turned off, and I wish I would have did more research into how to find accessible ways for it, because there are so many programs for women of color to get doulas and to get state funded and just different things provided to them. But after seeing some of those numbers, I got turned off, and I just was like, okay, it's not for me. I ended up...
Sorry, not to cut you off, but a doula, can you explain what a doula does in the birthing process? Because every time I think of doula, I think, oh, you're having a home birth, but that's not necessarily true, right?
So there's differences. So you can have doulas for home births. You can have doulas for both birthing centers. You can have doulas for hospital births. Okay. So I knew that I wanted a hospital birth. I knew that I just wanted to be in a hospital in case anything went wrong.
Right.
I also knew I wanted to get that epidural.
But give me that shot, please.
Give me that shot. Okay, I'm sorry. Kudos to the mamas that did it natural. Loved that for y'all. Not my testimony.
Okay.
But so doulas can be basically, they're there to support you and guide you through whatever you need. I know a couple of doulas that literally are just more so kind of a support system, a support for you and your partner to they're aware of all the things, and they are equipped on how to handle the whole everything. And then there's some doulas that are just more so kind of for support on the back end. So my doula, I had her towards the end of my journey, so she was more so preparation for the hospital. My hospital that we delivered at they still had COVID rules, so only allowed 2 people in the room. So she wasn't allowed in the room, but she prepped us to the point where seeing the way that my partner showed up for me in that room, I was like, wait a minute, you want another one? Okay, hold on now. But she helped to prepare and prep us because she's seen how these hospitals can get and how they treat, especially people that look like us, right? And so her job for my journey was basically to like make sure that because she wasn't going to be there, to make sure that we were prepared to do all the things, ask all the questions, rebuttal everything that we didn't feel comfortable with. Because you go into a hospital, and a lot of times when you make these decisions or don't make them, it's because you're uninformed. And so she informed us on a lot, right? So she was really helpful with that. There's different forms and versions of like doulas and nurses and things like that can like, and then there's midwives, right? So like midwives are, from my understanding, and like, I'm not, of course, certified in this, but from my understanding, midwives are actual nurses. Like they went through nursing school, they're actual nurses, so they can like, do all the things. And so a lot of people will like, deliver with them or have like a doula and a midwife, but there's 1,000 variations and configurations that you can do to have your birthing team. But for me, it worked out so well because I wanted a Black team. I wanted people around me that looked like me. And I was in labor for like 70-something hours. It was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I went through my share of nurses. They clocked in, clocked out. I was getting a new one every 12 hours. And my last night nurse, I delivered him at 6 o'clock in the morning. My last night nurse, she was clocking out, I think, at like 5, and she stayed to be with me. She was a Black woman, and we connected so well, and she was just taking such great care of me. She clocked out from her shift and stayed there by my side and was like literally a part of my team. And it just like, I prayed on it, I manifested having a team that like, that supported me, a team that like had my like, my best interests at heart, that weren't just trying to rush and get me out of there, and I had exactly that. But I think the biggest thing for like, that I would recommend or suggest for moms that are in the journey or finding all the things, is just take your time. Take your time, take your time, take your time. I didn't find my doula until I was about 8 months, I think it was, 8.5 months. It's never too late, because having people that make you feel comfortable in that room, it's literally the moment that changes your life forever. And so having people that make you feel supported in whatever way that you need is more important than trying to rush to get something just to get it by, month 1 or month 2. So take your time.
Right. So going through get childbirth and going through that process, would you say that having that doula allowed you to have a better birthing process?
Absolutely.
And being able to like advocate for yourself during, whatever it is that you went through your childbirth. Would you say, because I know a lot of people are scared of actually giving birth, right? But now that you've done it, would you say like, if you could say to yourself like a pep talk beforehand, what do you think you would have said? Or what do you think that, because I don't think you could really prepare for that.
There is no preparation for childbirth. I'm going to preface it like that. I will say the way you prepare is your mindset, right? And so I found myself talking to myself like I talk to my clients. Like, I was like, you can do hard things. Like, I can do this. Like, my body is made for this. And I kept finding myself repeating that, saying to me, like, my body was made for this. Like, I was made to bring my son here safely. I was made to carry him safely. I was made to do all the things. And I think the hard part of, like, knowing, like, there is no, like when you're training for a marathon, you're practicing running those 26 miles. So, like, you know that you can do it. Right. There is no version of practicing.
Yeah, you can't practice.
But you can practice how you control the environment. Right. And so I got really big on that. Like, how can I control the environment? How can I control my breathing, my, like, my emotions, my everything? Who I want in the room, like, the music I want. I had a fire playlist. Like, I just wanted it to be, if I'm not doing it at home in my safe space, I'm going to make this hospital room my safe space. Like, but to me, it's like preparing your mind was the biggest thing, because I'm one of those people that I've always been terrified of childbirth. Like, I've always known I wanted to have kids and be a mom and all the things. But
I'm terrified as well.
And it is no preparation for that. However, like, our bodies are literally made to do that. Like, your body, the way that it just knows what to do. And a lot of times, too, it's like, how do I know what to do? It's like it just happens. Wow. Even with, like, this moment he was there, it was like a switch went off, and it was like, I'm a mom. These are my motherly instincts. Bring me my child. Like, it's so crazy how it happens. But it really just, your body naturally prepares you for what has to happen. And even afterwards, so a big thing that the doula did is, like, just having us, like, feel comfortable speaking up and, like, putting our foot down and saying, like, no, like I said right now, we're like, no, like, we need X, Y, and Z now. And so when I got to the hospital, like I said, I was in labor for a long time. I labored at home for a long time. Went to the hospital, they turned me away. because I wasn't dilated enough. My contractions were very close, but I wasn't dilated enough. And looking back, they even said they shouldn't have sent me away because I was really close contracting. Went back home, came back, and at this point, I've been in labor for now like 50-something hours. So the pain is really high, the contractions are really close, and I get admitted. I had in my birthing plan from the first day I went to the hospital, I want the epidural. As soon as you guys admit me, let's get this process started.
Right.
There's no questions. Here's my signature. I want it.
Right.
And it took forever to get the epidural.
Really?
We were waiting hours at first to get it. And then we kept checking in. And my partner, I don't know what he said to that nurse in the hallway, but he went out there and put his foot down. And they came back and got it. But basically, like, you know, for real, like, basically, like, you have to be able to go out there and, like, vouch for, like, hey, like, you know, no, we need this now. And it was funny because one of the nurses that I had, when you're a nurse, bedside manner is everything. It is everything. And there's some nurses that, you know, whether they do it for a long time and they're just kind of, like, immune to that or whatever, but her bedside manner was terrible. And she had the nerve to tell me, like, at this point, I'm crying and telling her, like, you know, like, hey, like, where is, like, is it coming soon? Like, can I, like, I've been waiting for, like, you know, hours at this point. And she said, you're in labor, it's supposed to hurt.
Yeah,
I said, excuse me? Excuse me?
See?
But then it's also going back to, like, you know, and this is, like, you know, I think them looking at us like, oh, we can handle more pain. Like, oh, she'll be fine. Like, you're in labor, like, it's supposed to hurt. You'll be fine. Like, you can handle the pain. No, I don't want to handle it. If I wanted to go natural, I would have went natural. I know what I wanted to do, and I knew the plan that I had for myself, and honor that.
Right.
And so it really is, like, the people around you make or break that experience. Right. That's why I say, like, if you can be selective with who's in that room and the energies and everything, and also don't be afraid to ask for another nurse, because after that, I definitely was like, I get somebody else.
Right. I don't want her here.
No, she can't be here.
Right.
She can't.
And you know what's crazy? I was watching Sisters on BT, and I know people like to talk mess about Tyler Perry, but what you're describing, that's exactly what happened in the episode. They're being dismissive of her. She kept saying something is wrong. Yep. The doctor's like, oh, it's supposed to hurt. Oh, you're in labor. And it's just like, I get it. Y'all want to, you know, talk mess about Tyler Perry, but sometimes he do be getting it right. Listen. That is a black woman's experience when giving birth to a child. Like, and it's crazy that you said that part about it's supposed to hurt, because that's exactly what they said in that episode.
It's ridiculous. And look, with the straightest face ever, like, no, like, laughing, no joke, like, oh, just kidding. Like,
right, it's like they're being dismissive, and it's just like, I'm your patient.
Yes, like, you work for me.
Why? How are you acting like I'm inconveniencing you when this is your job? You work in labor and delivery, right? So this is what. But also, you know, this is what you're supposed to be sensitive to.
And my thing is like, you know, when people come in, they tell you, like, you know, off the top, like, hey, I want to get this done, I want to have that, like, you know, when people are going to labor, granted, I understand, like, surprise births happen all the time, you can go into labor early, but have the hospital fully staffed. I'm sorry, like, if y'all need more than one of the people that's doing the epidurals, y'all need more than one on the floor, like, figure it out. Don't have it be 10 moms in labor and we're all waiting around because, like, you know, there's only one person doing it. But then, like, completely like another moment that's a full circle moment. So after I delivered, and the delivery itself was a marathon. When my son came out, he wasn't breathing properly, so he had to be rushed to the NICU. And so once he came out, a team of doctors swarmed around him. And so for me, first time giving birth, I'm like,
you're like,
what the hell is happening? I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And you see people standing around them, so of course my heart dropped. I'm like, what's going on? And they had to rush him to the NICU. And that the nurse, the black woman that stayed with me after her shift was over, she demanded, she said, before you take him up there, let her hold her child for 2 minutes. She demanded, like, that I get a chance to hold him. Yeah. Because they were going to take him without me holding him.
That's crazy.
They were going to take him without me holding my child.
Like, you can't even kiss him on the forehead or nothing?
So, once again, the people you have around you. And so he was rushed to the NICU. And then after me, and so after you deliver, there's a lot of things happen to the body. We won't get into all the details because it is... it's a lot. But I went to go stand up to go, you know, you have to go to the bathroom. They want to make sure that, you know, the epidural is wearing off and you use your legs again. When I stood up, you know, a lot of blood rushed out. And they're like, oh, that's normal. That's no problem. It's completely normal. I'm like, okay, it's a lot of blood, but okay, all right, girl. You know what you're doing.
Right.
So then I get, you know, transferred to the recovery room upstairs. And the recovery doctors, 10 out of 10, they were amazing. And so whereas I felt like the recovery nurses, whereas I felt like the delivery nurses were dismissing my, like, you know, how I was feeling what was happening, the recovery nurses were listening to everything. And so the blood just kept coming out. And long story short, I was bleeding out. And I told them what was happening to me. I didn't feel good. I told them, like, I was starting to feel, like, faint, and, like, my skin was, like, starting to, like, change. And they called my doctor right away, and they rushed me into a surgery. And I had to have a blood transfusion. I had to have four bags of a blood transfusion. I was literally bleeding out. I had to sign the waiver saying that, like, I understood I might contract HIV, like, literally all the things.
Wow.
All the things.
Wow.
And so then my poor partner, he's rushing back and forth between me and the ICU, our child in the NICU, like, but birthing a child is literally, like, it is the hardest thing that our body can do, but our bodies can do it, right? And I always say, like, I feel like I had an extreme pregnancy, I had an extreme birth, but every story is not that way. Like I said, I know people that have had, like, they sneeze and whoop, the baby's here.
Yeah.
Like, what? Love that for y'all.
The baby's here in 2 pushes.
No, for real. Love that. Not my testimony, but,
yeah,
like, it can go any variation, and, like, there is no right or wrong. So I think, like, when we do, like, inform people and, like, let just people know, and my friends, my close friends especially, they all know details of, like, what I went through, because it's like I want people to understand and, like, to know, like, it's not all one track. Like, no, you may not go through what I went through. Yeah, and I hope you don't go through what I went through. Right. But I think when you're informed of it, it makes you feel like, why is this not just, like, why is this happening to me? And it's like, why just me? Why just me?
Exactly.
Compared to, like, no, this thing.
Women.
Yeah.
And I just want to clap it up for everybody who had to go through childbirth,
girl,
and made it out on the other side,
girl.
Like, wow, that's a miracle. That is literally a miracle. And just going through that, my heart goes out to mothers, because then you go through all of this, right? Then now you have your baby, and then now, oh, my body's not the same. Or people start to point that out, right? Oh, she look different. She a lot bigger. She a lot this. She a lot that. Because I've seen it firsthand. Like, some people don't look anything like the previous version of themselves, or pre-pregnancy, I should say. And how do you even begin to navigate that? Because I'm thinking, like, girl, just be kind to yourself. You just went through all of this. Your body just created a whole nother human. Be kind to yourself. But I know, obviously, like, that's not easy. That's not easy, because your body is changing. And you being in fitness, would you say that it was more pressure on you to snap back into that fit person, because that's your whole brand and your whole, identity, or part of your identity, I should say. What was that like for you, just the postpartum side of it?
I think it was very, very hard. For me, I would love to cancel the snapback culture. I think it is so negative on the mind. Your body will never be the same ever again. Even if it, like, look-wise, looks better, all the things, like, your body will never be the same postpartum than it was pre-baby, right?
Right.
Which is just real. But I think once we can accept that, we can create, like, a whole new level and platform of, like, creating and curating this new body of mine. For me, being in fitness, the pressure was extreme. Because also, too, like, like I mentioned, I had a rough early pregnancy. But towards the end of my pregnancy, when I felt better, I was lifting again. I was going through, like, things that made me feel good.
I remember seeing that.
And so then, like, people were already like, oh, my gosh, I can't wait to see your snapback. Your snapback's going to be so epic. And then you have the pressure of, like, I have to look this way. Like, I'm used to being this figure and having this body and this look and this, all these things. And it does not work like that. I will say, breastfeeding is like the hidden secret, right? When you breastfeed, you are burning calories. And so a lot of times, I went through it myself, and a lot of moms go through it. You lose the weight immediately sometimes. Like, I lost my baby weight fast.
Wow.
From breastfeeding.
Wow.
And then I stopped breastfeeding because it was a full-time job.
Right,
and
it
wasn't
every 2
it was
hours.
Not, girl, it was not for me.
Yeah.
We had a really rough breastfeeding journey. It wasn't for me, but after breastfeeding, and I wasn't working out as actively anymore, I wasn't, like, doing anything for my body, I gained weight back. So I'm actually heavier than I was when I first delivered the baby. So a lot of moms go through that transition of having the baby, dropping the weight, and then gaining weight. And I think that's more realistic, right? The more realistic version of a postpartum body is the up and down, and that is so normal. That is so okay. It takes, I think I saw somewhere, like, almost 2 years for your hormones to realign again.
Wow.
So once you, get the point of, like, finding a consistency in your just, like, movement of your body, your hormones, your mind, your everything is still not in sync with where it was before.
Right.
And I think that's the harder part to kind of, like, figure out, because postpartum is real in every sense of the word. Right. Postpartum depression is and like I said, I've suffered with depression prior to, you know, becoming a mom. Postpartum is like, it'll just hit you out of crazy, like the bricks and the blocks that it just hit you, it is insane. And you can literally go from being the happiest in the world, like I literally prayed for this, I wanted to be a mom, I wanted all the things, to like the next second, like what am I doing, what's going on, like, you know. And so I think dealing with thoughts, dealing with like your body not matching up, dealing with the things of like, you could do anything, like you can reach down and go reach for something and be like, dang, that was hard, like, why is my body the same? Like you spiral off of any little thing, right?
Yeah.
And for me personally, I think I've always like, low-key I've gotten away with, you know, not having to always do the most, because I've been an athlete for so long. I knew my routine. I can do my, like, you know, my workouts throughout the week and knew what got me through. I can get through my clients with ease. And now I'll be demoing some moves and be like, oh shit, wait a minute, I'm out of breath. And then like, you know, but also like being there for my clients, this is their time to like, you know, have their safe space. I can't release that in that moment, but in the back of my head, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out of breath like hell. I'm like trying to talk through me breathing heavy, and like then you get self-conscious too, like can they see it? Like, you know, do you feel that like, you know, I'm not the same as I used to be? And I think for me, I am very big on what people think, and one of my biggest things was like, I don't want becoming a mom to make my clients feel like I'm not the same trainer. I'm not the same, like, oh, the workouts got easier since she was pregnant. She was like, no, I want you to feel, if anything, you are still getting the undivided attention. You're still getting me pouring into you in every way possible. You're still getting the challenging workouts, all the things.
Right.
And so I think in my mind it's always like, you know, I want you to still get everything that I have to offer without me feeling like I'm giving you the short end of the stick. But then when it's coming time to like show the moves, I'm like, can I still do this?
Right.
But I know for a fact, because my clients, like it's a community. And like, even for instance, clients, is like, it feels weird sometimes because I truly am friends with everyone, because we're a really close community. But to me, I know that they know what my body's been through, so they give me grace.
Right.
But even taking on new people, sometimes I'm a little skeptical, because I'm like, well, they give me the same grace. They don't know me pre-baby.
And I'll even push back on that, because you said, I don't want them to think like I'm not the same. I mean, you're not the same. But that can also mean that you're better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because not only are you, like, you push me more now. I do recognize that you push me more now. I mean, it could be because you can't do the moves with me, or you really believe in me, but it doesn't matter because I'm seeing the results. And then on top of that, I have a little cheerleader that's pushing me.
The best assistant coach ever.
Exactly. A little assistant coach that kind of gives me a boost of energy, to be honest. I do notice that, like, my mood changes when he's around, and I'm like, you know what, I can get through this. Like, seeing him, you know, with all that energy, I'm like, okay, I gotta get it together for the baby. I gotta do it, you know. So even if it is not the same, it is different, but that doesn't mean that it's worse. I will say that it could mean that it's better.
Okay.
And you know, just seeing you look great, by the way. Let's just, like, I know obviously you have your own thoughts and feelings about, you know, who you used to be, but you do look amazing.
Thank you.
And just remember that your body is amazing, period. Whether it's 100 pounds more or not, your body is amazing for what it did.
Absolutely. And I think I'm finding comfort in that finally, because, you know, it's easy to preach one thing, and I feel like for a long time I was able to preach it to other people, but to myself I wasn't always the kindest. Yeah. And I found myself, you know, like just not thinking the best things about me. But I am very thankful for my body in the stage of where it is, for what it can do, for what it has done. And I'm also very thankful for, like, you know, what it will do for me and what I'm able to, like, you know, see it progress from here. And so it really is just kind of like, once again, a mindset shift of like being kind to yourself and being nice to yourself, because it's so easy to be so negative. Right. It's easier to be negative than it's positive, honestly. Right. But I always feel like we're our biggest cheerleaders, our biggest supporters, but we're also our biggest haters. Like, if someone's going to hate more, I'm going to hate on myself more than anybody else is going to hate on myself. I promise you. Whatever you think about me, I've already thought it. I've already did all the things, all the calculations in my head. Yeah. But I'm trying to, like, shift that and, like, you know, just be kinder to myself and just be more of, like, just big up on myself. Like, yeah, I did that. And I'm doing that. And I'm, like, you know, working my way through it. And every day isn't perfect. Every day isn't the same, but that's the beauty in it. Like, it's my day. I can do what works for me. Right. But,
and before I get into my closing, I just want to say, stop commenting on women's bodies.
Oh,
all right,
please
stop commenting on pregnant women's bodies. Let's just stop commenting on women's bodies altogether.
In general,
but since this is about motherhood, stop asking people, "Oh, are you having another one? Are you pregnant again? Are you?" Please stop.
The way that people are clocking my uterus is crazy.
Just stop.
And I do think it's like it's an older mentality. Like I was like my mom's generation, and they mean no harm by it. But their generation, they you have babies and you bust them out, and you like that's what you do. And you like you go to work and have a job and all the things. Yeah. But you have more than one. And I found even my mom telling me like all right now, Nia, like you gotta have another one. You can't have just one. Like you can have just the only child. It's like, well, why can't I? Like, what's the negative thing? Granted, I get it. I understand it. I would love to, if my body is able to, but also, too, like, we went through a traumatic experience to get here.
Exactly.
Like, do I want to do it again?
Yeah. Might not want to do it again.
Listen, I would love to explore other options. I always say I'm very vocal. If I could afford to do the surrogacy thing, baby, in a heartbeat.
Right.
Okay? In a heartbeat.
You had an extra $100K to just give away?
I thought I would ease.
Right.
With ease. Where do I sign my name?
Right, exactly. Let somebody else do it, but still my baby.
Yes. But no, like commenting on women's bodies is just, that needs to be X'd out 1,000%. I literally had a guy in my DMs, and I blocked him immediately after. And we were cool actually too, and afterwards I was just like, absolutely not. My little mom pops was showing one day, and I'm very like, I have my like, my awareness, I'm very self-conscious as well too. And like, I am flexing my core all day, one, to like work on my core, but then two, to like suck in most of the time because I have that appearance of wanting to look a certain way.
Right. And
I was on my story posting something, just being like very vulnerable, and my mom and pop was hanging out. And he was like, oh shit, you're pregnant again already? Damn. I said, what? What? And all the emotions flow through your head. I'm like, do I cuss him out?
Right.
Do I this, do I that, do I that? And I was just like, you know what? I gave it up to God. I was like, it's not worth my energy exchange.
Right, exactly.
I just blocked it. I just moved on from there.
Yeah.
But people are going to constantly be clocking your body, clocking your uterus, clocking all the things. And I think it's easy to let them get to you because it does get to you, especially when you're already thinking like, damn, I don't feel or look the way I want to look, and someone comments on that. It's like, well, fuck.
Right. Because I'm already self-conscious.
Girl,
and then you're going to comment on what I'm self-conscious about? Yeah, block.
No, for real. But learn to just like, I use that block button strong now.
Yeah. And
then I even recently like being a mom is tough, and like finding time to hang out with yourself and friends and all the things. And I've just recently like started to start doing more things with friends and just like my partner and like different things like that. And we were going to the Beyonce concert. I had my little Beyonce fit on, and somebody said, literally on some Keke Palmer shit, but you're a mom, why you dressed like that? Block.
Right.
I'm so over it that like I don't have the exchange.
Right.
Like, if that's
exactly.
what you think, because your dusty ass baby mom don't look like that. I'm sorry. That's what you think.
Right.
But at this point, everyone can get the block button. It's there for a reason, so we're gonna use it.
Yeah. Just stop and so you won't feel the wrath of these mothers. Okay.
Because you gonna get somebody that got time. I don't got the time.
Exactly.
Someone gonna have the time and cuss you clean out.
Right. So before we get out of here, I just want to ask a couple quick questions. So like, if you could keep it to like one word or one thing, I'm gonna ask these questions and just the first thing that comes to your mind. What is your favorite postpartum meal?
Oof, crab legs.
Crab legs. Okay.
Girl.
Okay. What is your favorite workout lately?
Core.
Okay. What is a quote or a mantra that carried you through labor?
My body was made for this.
One thing you wish more people understood about Black motherhood?
You need a village.
Okay. All right. That's the last one. But
Girl.
Thank you.
Girl.
Those are just like key things that I wanted to highlight. But I just want to say thank you for your transparency. You have taught me a lot as a person, not just, through your fitness, but through this motherhood journey. I swear, I'm like, this has opened my eyes. If anybody is, thinking about motherhood or pregnancy, or they're pregnant right now, definitely watch this episode, because this is the stuff that we need to know. Like, okay, I know you might have a cute little baby you could dress up and, follow you around. Yeah, that's cute and all, but it takes a lot of work to get there. Girl. And people really need to know this so that they could be informed in the decisions that they make. And now, that's why I don't judge anybody If you don't want to have that baby, that's okay too.
Listen, that's okay.
If you don't want to have that baby, that's okay too.
Listen, that's okay.
That's
That
okay
is
too,
okay.
because all the stuff that you even told me today, I'm like, okay, now I have to think a little bit more clearly. Can't just be having everybody's baby.
I was literally just about to say, I think a big piece of advice I would give to, like, people that, like, you know, I think there's a lot of people that want to have babies and, like, you know, are eager to be moms.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because motherhood is beautiful. But be careful who you lay down with, because
Ooh.
I'm like I said, I'm very blessed. My partner is amazing. But I know some horror stories of people that, like, you know, you're attached to this person for life now. So
Right.
be careful who you lay down with, because how someone shows up for you postpartum, pregnancy, motherhood, all the things, like, it's going to be a make or break in your experience of motherhood.
Yeah. Well, that's her advice right there. Juanita, tell people how they could find you either on social media,
Yeah.
or if they want to become a client possibly of
Come
yours.
on now.
How can they find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram, I'm at __ neatfit, NITFIT, neatfit, not knitfit. You can find me on Instagram, and then for any potential clients, you can go to my website. It's www.neatfit.co, NITFIT.co.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
You can follow us at __ what's good with you, and also find this video on YouTube. Comment, let me know what you think, and it's been another episode of What's Good with You. Yay!